Hello everyone and welcome to the 20th episode of the Thespian podcast. On today's episode we talk to the amazingly talented, gifted actor, teacher, and mother, Britney Pollock. So without further ado, let's hop in episode 20 of the Thespian podcast. Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to the 20th episode of the Thespian podcast. On today's episode we talk to the amazingly talented, gifted actor, teacher, and mother, Britney Pollock. How are you, Britney?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So, guys, this is the 20th episode, which is crazy to me that we've actually been doing this for 20 episodes. I remember starting it on July 11th, 2020 with our first post, and now we also started it with the first episode on July 25th, which is crazy to me. But now we have our first guest from the US, which is, again, amazing. And I'm so glad with the amazing support that has continued to happen with all these episodes. So I just want to remind you guys that November is Movember. So if you guys can rock a mustache, I highly suggest you do. Also, guys, today is World Kindness Day. So please be kind all the time. We shouldn't just have one day for it, but all the time for it. So yeah. And with that being said, Remembrance Day just happened, guys. So show love towards your veterans. All right. So let's hop into the questions. So the first one is, how exactly did you get into acting, Britney?
Okay. It's kind of a story, if that's all right.
Yeah.
When I was a child, probably like 5, 6, my mom made my brother and I go into acting. Like she really wanted us to be kid actors, and she would take us every Saturday to auditions and acting classes and acting school. It was in modeling school and headshots and everything, and we didn't like it. Actually, we hated it because it wasn't something that we wanted to do. So I did like a Cheerios commercial when I was a kid, and after that I was like, I hate this, I'm never doing this again, you know, kind of a spite to my mom there. And then I went through a very shy period where you know, I couldn't even go on stage for my school's theater. I would take the F. I couldn't make speeches or presentations. I would just take a 0. I literally couldn't get on stage, on any type of stage whatsoever. So last year, my bucket list, I was like, you know what, it's time to get over this. I really want to work on this. So I auditioned for this play, community theater out here in my town, and I got the part, and I made myself do it, and I realized I tapped into something. I like woke something up inside of me, and I really liked it. I was like, this is so much fun. I don't know why I had like such hesitation to act, because it's really great just to be up there and to speak. And after that, it just took off. I'm like addicted now.
To go off of that, actually, do you have any words of wisdom for someone that might want to go into acting now that like you've now brightened your horizons with it?
Yeah, I would say never take yourself too seriously. Always have fun with it. Be really, just be very lighthearted about it. Don't take rejection to heart because there's always going to be a role out there for you. There's, thousands of casting agents looking for someone exactly like you. You will get your part when it's time, and just keep pushing. Have fun with it. Don't ever take yourself too seriously. That's what I do. And if I feel like I have a part that's offered to me and I'm kind of iffy about it because it's something I don't really like to do. I can feel it right away, and I don't take it.
You heard it here first, guys. But yeah, it's one of those things in acting that you're gonna hear more no's than you hear yeses. But my God, when you get them and when you finally find that thing, it's so amazing. And you guys, if you guys are looking to do acting, I've said it on the podcast several times. Just go for it. There's nothing like you might fall on your face the first time or whatever, but eventually, um, it becomes second nature, and you just love what you're doing, whether it be on stage or in film. Which brings me to my next question. Um, when did film like you said you were a child actor, but when was film the thing that you're like, this is what I need to do or what I want to do?
Um, I think when I think about acting after the play, I realized I think I'd rather be in film because it's to me it's a lot easier. It is a little bit less pressure. I wouldn't mind doing theater, but when I started to really dive deep into acting was kind of around the time COVID started, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity for theater.
Yeah, it's true. It theater definitely got hit during
Yeah.
this time, but also we also did a play together digitally. So how was that for you? How was doing digital theater? Because just doing something like that, not many people knew what it was or like how to do it um, until COVID really struck. So how was doing You Can't Take It With You with Cloak and Dagger for you?
It was interesting. It was definitely different. um, I think it was different. It was a lot of fun. I really liked networking with all of you and meeting everybody. And it's you get that same community, like family tight knit feel with your castmates, which is really nice that you're able to still do that virtually, because that's something I really like in acting. I really like making those connections with people, but it is hard. It's different because you don't get the movement, obviously the props, costumes, things that really kind of bring it alive.
Yeah, it's true. It is very different, but it is still so inclusive. Um, with the entertainment business as a whole is very inclusive. And I guess to shift gears to something also that you've been doing online recently, how has teaching been over a screen? I've wanted to ask many teachers this, but I wanted to get your point of view in regards to how teaching has changed now that you have to do it online.
Honestly, it's terrible. It's it's really bad. If I could just like scratch this year, I would do that because I feel like not only are the kids not really learning, but there's no motivation. And COVID has taken a lot, like a big toll on everybody's mental health, including the kids. And I mean, them not showing up to class, who cares? Like nothing's going to happen to them. There's no incentive for them to go to school, and there's no consequence if they don't. But they're dealing with a lot at home and having to check in with them at home. It's like they're not able to leave their situation and come to school with a fresh empty brain and an empty start. They're having to bring all their problems, possibly home problems, onto the computer, and they're not able to like focus. So it's It's really hard. And I teach math, so it's even harder because it's virtually impossible to try to teach when you don't have access to like a whiteboard or anything.
Can only imagine. It must be difficult. Um, when did you first think that teaching is what you wanted to do?
Um, it actually came to me after my daughter's accident. Um, I'd say like 3 years ago now. She had kind of like a brain clot. They call it an AVM. She was born with it. It's apparently really rare, and it goes undetected unless you specifically request a test for it, which is also really rare to do because no one does that. So I was actually not in town. I took a new job. I was out of town, like hours away, and my now husband was here with her. She was at preschool, or not preschool, sorry, after school care, and she told like the counselor she didn't feel well, and then she just passed out, and she was airlifted with my husband to one of the local hospitals, and they said she had a brain clot and it burst, and she had several strokes after that, and so they had to do a craniotomy where they had to open up, like take off her part of her skull so that the swelling could go down. And then after she was like stable enough, they went back in and kind of put like a shunt or a stent, something like a cement blocker in her brain, so it could make the blood go different routes, so it wouldn't like be in this tangled mess. So after that, she was okay. She recovered 100%, thank God. Um, but at the time, I was actually pre-med. I actually wanted to be a doctor. And that whole experience kind of made me realize, like, I don't want to take any more time away from my daughter that I have to. Like, I'd have to go to med school and be a resident and never see her, basically. And I realized I need to find a job that allows me to have as much time with her as possible, and teaching was it. And then as soon as I started like shadowing and observing and really learning about teaching, I realized like this is what I want to do. I really want to help kids. I really want to help them become the most successful adults that they can be.
Well, thank God that she's well, and yeah, it's that's true. Like with my brother is actually a studying nurse or studied nurse, and it's true. There's a lot of not seeing each other for a while, but I'm glad that you took that initiative and decided to teach, so you can spend more time with your daughter. Um, but yeah, how does it feel for you to shape the like next generation of, I guess, the world, which is great.
I love it. It's very rewarding. It's really good. I get like attached to my students. Like my kids, and I work with like special education children, but they have issues at home, or they're going through like suicide issues, abuse, foster care. Like, so they're like the kids that really need the guidance and the ear to listen and the shoulder to cry on. They really just really need someone to be there for them, because most of them don't have anyone at home to even take care of them or help them out. So it's really good to be there for them, and just let them know I'm here for you, whatever you need. Um, and honestly, I was one of those kids. So to look back and be like, "Yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. I get it 100%. I'm here for you," and be like, look at me, look what has happened. You can get out of this. It will happen for you.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have teachers that are know where you have been and now know how to kind of fix the little problems that like just come up in school, either in school or out of school. But yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. Um, I also wanted to ask, is there another subject that you would have loved to jump into in regards to teaching?
Yes, I actually regret taking math because I'm not good at it. um, I would say history. History, and then I mean I definitely would love to do art, but they don't down here they don't consider it like a main subject that you can just teach alone. So literally any elective like art or dance or theater, like anybody can teach it. You don't have to have any experience with it down here, which is kind of odd. So you have to teach like a main course like science, math, English, history.
Yeah, no, history I love too. But yeah, your history is completely different towards our Canadian history. Ours isn't as layered. But yeah, it's history is actually my favorite subject. People would probably think, because we did have like an elective, would probably think drama, but no, history was probably one of my favorite. Um, yeah, math. Yeah, math still isn't my thing. I know it's in my name, but it's not not my favorite. Um, yeah. Did you ever think of like doing English as well, like as another subject?
Yeah, I actually really wanted to do that. But everyone kept telling me, and this was a good point, if I do English, I'm going to have to grade several papers from several different periods. I'm doing either middle school or high school. So it's like, no, maybe I shouldn't do that just based on that alone. But I mean, I do love to read, and it would have been really inspiring to be able to get the kids to write about their favorite books or what books shaped them in their lives, things like that. That would have been really nice.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I've thought about teaching too, but in regards to I would need to do theater because I feel like I've done so much schooling that it's just like to add more to it, that's probably not my cup of tea. But definitely either English or anything to do with the drama. Um, I also wanted to know, in regards to can you tell our viewers and listeners how exactly did you first not get into um, acting, but what would be like your dream role if you were in a film right now?
What a loaded question.
I know.
It would probably be something with Martin Scorsese or Ryan Murphy directing. Um, Maybe a drama role. That'd be fun. A very serious role.
I find the most serious, the most fun. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but like the tragedies and the very dark stuff is so much fun as an actor.
Yeah.
Um, and like the comedic is fun too, don't get me wrong. But like the dramatic and like over the top roles are probably my favorite. So yeah, I can only imagine. And especially on set. Um, so, how do you feel when you are on set? I wanted to get your input. How you feel when you have this boom over your head and you have this giant camera looking directly at you.
At first it's kind of like butterflies in your stomach, but in a good way. And then I usually, before, we start rolling, do a little dance or like sing or scream it out and just like get it all out, and then I'm good. And then I'm good. But when I first arrive on set, I always have like this like reservation. I'm like, oh my God, I should just leave. This is stupid. I'm not gonna be good. And then I like get it all out. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be really fun. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose. And then as long as you have fun with it and be lighthearted with it, then you're good. It ends up being great.
You heard it here again first, guys. It's definitely nerve wracking at the beginning if you're jumping into it in first glance. It seems as if we're overselling it, but it's true. Like it's sometimes hard to kind of jump into this new plates and this new scene when you have a boom and you have the giant stuff, whether it be the camera guy or like the 19 people that are actually in front of you, doing all sorts of crazy things in regards to levels and stuff like that. But it's true. Film is so fun, guys, when you get to do it. With that being said, you were actually just in a short film that actually came out today. So how was having so many things happen today? I wanted to get, like, how are you doing today in regards to everything hitting at once?
Well, about 2 minutes before this, I was trying to blow dry my hair, so I've been really busy. um, it's been great. I like to stay really, really busy, like I am. But once everything kind of comes out together, it's a really good feeling. It feels very it feels like I've accomplished something, which is nice. The short film I was in, directed by Issa Bolden, it's called Couples Retreat. It was really fun to work on set with all of those people, especially Issa. He's a really good director, and he's like an up and coming director, producer, writer. He's doing it all himself. So I've been in a few of his stuff, a few of his like short films and TV shows, and he's been really just open. He's really great with kind of the actors improvising on spot. He's like, yeah, that's great. Add that in. And there was one scene in the short film where I'm a maid, and it's kind of like it's a horror short. So it's about this couple who has opened up a retreat for other couples looking for therapy, and they go there seeking, like meditation and spiritual guidance and crazy therapy, right, and yoga and all that stuff. So I'm the maid, and I've been working there, for years, but they don't know that I'm like, I have to work there. I'm like basically a slave, a servant, because if I left or I said my 2 cents, I would die. They would kill me. So my first role, I come in and I'm trying not to trip over this long cord and not cut off the camera. So I'm like already shaky because I'm like, I might trip on everybody here. And so I have this giant server, and I have all these waters, and I'm supposed to go and then I kneel and give them to everybody. And I go and I accidentally dropped one of the waters on the little serving plate, and it toppled all like dominoes. And he was like, oh my God, that was actually really good. Like, it showed that I'm uneasy about being there and I'm nervous, and I like made a natural face like, oh shit. And he's like, oh, that's perfect, keep that. And so we ended up keeping that in the film. It was actually really funny.
It's crazy how like the things that like go wrong, either on film or in theater, it's almost the best thing to happen, like 95% of the time, because then you find something else that's amazing, like due to that. Definitely in theater has happened to me often. I also had a film that I'm part of, like this pawn shop, and we were in a pawn shop, and there was this glass box that like I needed to lean on and whatever. The amount of stuff that was in that box, I was so scared to break that box, because if I did, the amount of money that would have been lost. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, you kind of walk on eggshells for a bit, but then magically something amazing just comes of it, and that tends to happen with film a lot because it's just natural. It's real life basically, but through a lens. And yeah, that's hilarious how this water and the plate magically came into the film. If you guys want to check it out, link down below. The YouTube link will be down below, so definitely check out Britney and the amazing work that has become a short film. So you guys definitely want to go check that out. So before I hop into the next question, I'm just going to tell everyone what is going on for the next 2 weeks. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a guest for this next upcoming week. We actually have our first Shakespeare sit-downs, in which we're going to talk about the Bard's work. and with a whole cast of people, and it's going to be a great time. Then the following week is my birthday, and guys, I'm sorry, I love the podcast, but I'm actually going to take the week off just to settle down and enjoy my birthday on the week of the 24th. So that was going to happen for the next 2 weeks, guys, but then we're going to have some amazing people coming on in December. So on the next question I want to ask is, how do you see yourself in the next couple of years? How do you see yourself as an actor moving forward?
That's a good question. I'm not terribly sure. Since it's just a hobby, I'll take projects if I get them that I like, and if I don't like them and I don't get them, it's no big deal to me. It's no pressure, and I think it's more fun that way because I don't make it into a full-time job. It's more of like a side enjoyance hobby. It's a nice thing that I don't have to make money off of it, if that makes sense. There's no like definite pressure to pay my bills with my acting, so it's not as serious and like, oh my gosh, I have to do this in 5 years because I have to pay my bills. But it's just like taking projects on that I like, that I feel like I want to be involved in.
For sure, it's basically it's a passion thing, and it's true. It happens with a lot of the actors. It's almost like a side hustle, if we want to use a more now term, I guess would be
Yeah, I
the
like
thing.
that.
It's more of a side hustle. But yeah, it's true. A lot of us actors do this because of the passion, not because of the money. Because guys, I hate to break it to you, there's not much money coming in. It's true. But also, I wanted to ask that in regards, the same question, in regards to teaching. Do you see yourself continuing on doing math, or do you see yourself continue to maybe shape into these new things moving forward?
Well, right now I'm an instructional assistant in math. I also am been working with theater at my school too, so I've been involved in a lot of like co-directing for the competitions. We're starting a new play soon, so I'm designing all the costumes right now. So I hope to continue doing that part, but as far as the teaching, I should be done with my degree by June or July, and then I should be a full-fledged teacher. I'll probably start out teaching math, but I really enjoy teaching the type of students that I'm working with, coming from troubled past and things like that, because it really reminds me of myself when I was a child. And then I'll have to get my special education credential. So I've been applying to master's programs to get my special ed credential for a master's. So I'll probably do that.
Sounds great, and I cannot wait to see the amazing stuff that you continue to do. Also, you're doing theater, which it must be amazing to be starting teaching in theater, right? You're doing, I believe, D&D, right, as a play?
Yes, it's called She Kills Monsters. And it's a play. We just got the rights, and as of right now, it's going to be virtual. It'll probably end up being virtual because of COVID, but we're going to have costumes this time. So it's really fun. I know a little bit about D&D, and I kind of tied it to World of Warcraft, but I know that it's different. I know that, guys. But I was kind of getting inspired in the characters, and I started sketching and writing down like all the character personalities and what they would wear, because they're in the game, but they're also in real life. So it's about this girl who's lost her younger sister in an accident, and she never really knew her, and she finds this like journal that she's been playing D&D. So she goes into the world of D&D herself, and it's like this whole imaginary world, and she starts playing D&D and like finds like people from her life that have come into the game as her bullies or her girlfriend, because she's also closeted gay. It's a very beautiful like teenage journey experience. So it's great for the kids, and we have a lot of LGBTQ on campus, and we really wanted to put that in the plays to open up the world, because I don't think there's been many plays in my area in the school district that are open like that. So it's a really big deal for us.
And I bet. And where can people go and see this?
It's going to be at Castaic High School. I'm not sure if it will be open to the public as of yet because we haven't set it up if it's virtual or non-virtual. We don't know yet. So it's all kind of under wraps, secrets.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be great, and it's true. Unfortunately, a lot of theater doesn't talk about LGBTQ problems, but they definitely should. So, guys, if you're writing, I highly suggest that you add in all sorts of topics like this. I've been saying for a while, the Black Lives Matter movement, the LGBTQ, all these things, even COVID, is going to play a huge part in the next batch of theater and art in general, because we're living through a pandemic. So usually I do more housekeeping and the beginning of the show. But guys, you guys know what to do. Like I said, wash your hands. Don't forget to wear a mask. And also use hand sanitizer as your best friend. We are still in the red zone here in Montreal. And in the US, it still continues. Both of us are dealing with this crazy pandemic. And we're not doing a very good job in the world right now. We are in a third wave, guys. And we got to stop with this tsunami. We just got to stop with these waves, guys. I'm over it. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. So please continue to do that. Is there anything else you would like to say in regards to people that may be watching? Do you have people that you may want to say hi to before I shine a light and unfortunately we need to say goodbye?
Not really. Hi to everybody I know, I guess. My family and my new Canadian friends up there. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, it eventually, very soon, it's going to be very snowy here. And it's going to be fun, I guess. I don't mind the snow because in Montreal, we're just used to it. And if there isn't snow on my birthday, it's a very weird year. It's kind of weird that like I still have my air conditioning in because it's sometimes warm here. That's awesome, Britt. And let's hop in to shine a light on Britney. So with every episode, I jump in and say the amazing stuff that Britney's doing, or our guest on every episode of the Little Thespian podcast. So Britney, you are doing amazing in regards to teaching. I'm so glad that everything is okay over there right now. Not great. We know the pandemic continues to ravage both of us. But I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad we had this talk in regards to just school, teaching, theater, acting, film. It was a great time. And you're doing amazing stuff over there, and I cannot wait to hear the amazing stuff that's yet to come. So thank you so much for joining me on the Little Thespian podcast. Guys, don't forget to be kind and shed a light. Wherever you are, whether you are in Canada or the US. Is there anything you would like to say before we go, Britt?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Britt. And we'll see you guys on the next Little Thespian podcast. Bye. The lights are off. The curtain has fallen. And it's time to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us on the Little Thespian podcast. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to ask, either down below or on any of our platforms. I regret to inform you all that there will not be a new Little Thespian podcast for the next 2 weeks. This is mainly because we have our first Shakespeare sit-downs that will be taking place this next week. Don't worry, guys, both the Little Thespian podcast and the Shakespeare sit-downs will coincide. It's just this first episode that we have a lot to iron out and a lot to do in preparation for the first episode of the Shakespeare sit-downs. We have an amazing cast joining us, and I truly cannot wait. Hopefully you guys cannot wait either. It's going to be a great time. Then, on our second week off, we'll just be having a break, taking a bit of a breather. of the Little Thespian podcast. Don't worry, guys. I love this so much, and I continue to adore what I do. It's just we need a bit of a breather from it. Thank you guys for the amazing support. It helps us out tremendously. But if you guys want to show some more support, I encourage you to like this video, to comment, and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Also, guys, don't forget to ring the bell to stay notified on all future videos. There are many guests coming and many amazing things coming to this channel, so you guys are definitely going to want to do that. Thank you all for joining us in the 20th episode. I truly cannot believe it is episode 20 of Little Thespian Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all in the next Little Thespian Podcast. This has been your host, Matthew Crandall, telling you guys to shine bright, be kind, and we'll see you all on the next Little Thespian Podcast.